Hello everyone, it's Linda from Linda's Ease in Arlington Heights, Illinois. A quick little demo today that is something I think everybody can use repeating. You know, so many of us make our quilts and then we leave the finished top and don't finish them up with the edges. So I'm going to just go over the binding that you would use on your quilt and how to do the mitered corners. I think this will be something that will be, you can refer back to it. It's going to be real easy for you to, because I'm actually going to demonstrate it and sit down with so you can see it up close, and then you know, hopefully you'll get some good ideas. Before I do that, on this particular one, I'm actually going to do this one from the back side. I'm going to start on the back side with my strip. I cut a with my Alex Anderson's rotary cutter. It's really those of you that have seen me use it before, it just cuts very nice and straight, and that's why I like it, because it's weighted, so that if you have carpal tunnel or if you are hopefully won't get it, it gives you a real balanced weight of when you're cutting your strips. But the main thing I want you to know is a lot of people ask me, well, what size strip should I use for my binding? Binding can be 2 inches, it can be 2 1/4, it can be 2 1/2, or it could even be a little less. It depends on what kind of effect that you want. So there really isn't a right or wrong. On this particular one, I am doing a, you saw in one of my other videos, the quilting that I did. This is quilted in the hoop. And I'm doing a small placemat so that you can see the 4 corners and how easy it is to put it together. But what I'm doing on this is I'm sewing it from the back side and flipping it over to the front side. And then on the front side, I will do a decorative stitch. Now, if I wanted to do my big quilts, which I personally do, I know you've heard me say this before, I would start on the front side, which I have on another placemat. I would start on the front, and then I would turn it to the back side after this has already been done on most of them. And then I would turn this to the back side, and I would hand whip this. That's the preferred way that I love for my big quilts, not for my placemats or not for my table runners, because those will probably be in the wash quite a bit. So, you know, it's up to you. There's no right or wrong way. On this particular one, like I said, I'm using a 2 inch because it's going to squinch in there a little bit better. I don't like it to be, on this one, let me see, I think I did cut the 2 inches. On this one, I cut it at, I have to measure it just to make sure. Yep, I did it at 2 inches too. One of them I've done at 2 1/2 and 2 1/4. 2 1/2 for me is a little bit wide, but you can see what I'm doing here. I'm using on this machine, and I'm working on the Bernina 720. I'm using the metrozane 100 weight thread when I sew on my strips. I could use the 40 weight Aurifil. I like that. That would be the same top and the bottom, the bobbin and the top. On this one, I've got the 100 weight in the top and the 100 weight in the bottom. The reason I have some of these embroidery threads out here is because when I would turn it over to the front side and do the decorative stitch, then I would definitely use an embroidery stitch because I'm doing it by machine. And these bobbins are, I love the weight of these. They're an 80 weight, but they don't fit my Bernina, so I just put them on the spindle over there and I rewind a new bobbin, and then I've got the same color that I want on there. So let's get started. I want to show you what I'm going to do here. It is just a plain straight stitch, and I have taken off my, my plate because I want you to be able to do my zigzag plate, and I have put on a straight stitch plate. This little light, I'm not going to use it in here because it glares in the camera, but this little light is just fabulous. It's a little tiny thing. I hope you got one in your Christmas stocking. Maybe you got it in your, you'll get it in your New Year's Eve stocking if there is such a thing, or a celebration to yourself for the brand new year, which I can't wait for it to be here. This little light just clicks on, it's an LED, and you can plop it on your machine anywhere, and it's just a great little tool. So let me start. As you can see, I have quite a bit of a tail here, about 8 to 10 inches. I always want to leave a little bit of a tail when I'm starting. And then I'm going to go ahead and get a little tail under here. Now this is my 1/4 inch foot for straight stitching. And you can see that this straight stitch foot is going to run right along the edge of this. This is where my 1/4 inch works very, very well. So I'm going to go ahead and just do a very, very good and I'm going to go right up to the corner, and this is where the fun begins. Now make sure you know where your 1/4 inch is when you're coming up. And then what I do, I stop and I take my little marking pen. For those of you that are fairly new to this, I'm so used to doing this, I don't usually do it like this, but I'm showing you a very accurate way to do this. This little pink lines on here are showing me the 1/4 inch seam, and I want to go right up to and where the 1/4 inch would be, which is right here. I'll show you on this again. Real simple. And then I'm going to mark an angle so that I can sew right off the edge. So right to the point. There you can probably see it with this thick marker. And this marker is really wonderful because it will disappear in 7 days, or you can erase it with the thing. So let me go up here and I'll get right into the corner, and as I get to that angle, I'm going to press my knee lift, and then I'm going to go right up to the point. Go right off. Now I could cut my thread at this point, but I don't usually do that. I just pull it out, turn my fabric around, and now this is where the fun part happens, is I take, and if you notice, I don't press my binding before I actually sew it. I find that I get a better binding if I don't do that. Now I'm going to take that fold right up to where I sewed and use my stiletto, and you see how I'm folding that right up to the top. So real nice and easy. I can now flip this right under my machine. I'm going to use that 1/4 inch seam again, and I'm just going to continue on sewing. Real easy, simple. I'm going right along the edge so that I can do my 1/4 inch. And this little stiletto is really nice because as you go along, you can see I don't even have this pinned. Occasionally what I'll do is put a little clip in like this to keep it straight, but you don't really have to pin a whole bunch when you're doing your binding. Okay, so I'm going all along. I'm just kind of keeping it to hold it nice and straight. And I'm going to go all the way down to the edge. You can see I'm going to refold it. And we'll do the same thing when we get to the next corner. Now as we're approaching the second corner, I have my little clips in there. I'm going to take those out as I go up. And again, be careful that you're going just as a 1/4 inch. You don't want to get any more or any less. And I'm going to take my little ruler. It's real quick to do. I'm going to take a little mark. Right at the point where you want to go off, you want to make sure you're at the 1/4 inch, which is right there. Like that. And you can see we're coming up to that point. I'm going to take my knee lift lever and go right up to the point off. And then I'm going to cut my scissors, use my scissor cutter. Now, I don't usually do this, but I think it's kind of fun for you guys to see it. It's very nice and easy to use. Then again, you take at the corner, you're going to make this binding go right up to the top again. You see how I'm folding it? It's real easy, real nice, so that it's right even with the top of the corner. You can put a couple of clips in there that at the bottom just to make sure it's really in good shape. And now I'm going to go ahead, and you notice that when my needle stops too, it will stop down, and that's really a nice thing because then it doesn't give me any wiggle room. Now I'll continue on, and I'm going to do another corner for you because I really want you to see this. Now I'm approaching the third corner. So again, you can see I can move my little clips. I'm going to wait till I get right up to that corner, close to it. Again, I'll take this little ruler and do a mark on there so you can see how easy it is. I want my 1/4 inch, flip it this way so you can, my 1/4 inch, so it's mitered right up to the point of the fabric. And I go right into the 1/4. You don't want to go further than a 1/4 inch. And right up there, and then I'm going to turn it with my knee lift lever, go off the fabric. I can cut it. I'll just cut it here. I'm off the fabric. I usually like to cut when I'm on the fabric. There, I can turn it, and now what I'll do is show you again with this stylus how simple it is to, And again, when you're first doing this, for those of you that have never done this before, press your binding. I don't like to press it. I like to do that at the end. But for those of you that are new, it'll help you a little bit more as you're going through. Now again, what's the secret? We go right up to the top of the corner with that little stylus. Put your foot down, your needle will start. I want to get my needle right down there. So you see where I'm starting here? I'll put my needle down. I start right at the end, and the fabric goes right up to the needle. You see how smooth that is? So now what I'll continue on doing, I'll do the last corner. I'll finish this seam, and then as soon as I get up to the corner, we'll be right there. And now we're coming up to the fourth corner. And again, I'll take that little ruler out and mark it right at that point. Right here is your corner. You can see I want to leave that 1/4 inch so I know exactly how far to go out. So up to it, keeping my 1/4 inch even. And then I want to go off the edge, trim it. Take the fabric off, turn it around, and now we have this nice little stylus. And where am I going? Yep, you're right, to the top of the corner. Now I'm going to put my foot down, and then I'm going to take my needle, and I want to take that back up again and bring it up. Because I want that needle to be exactly, I'm going to show you this again, I want that needle to be exactly at the end of the fabric. So that fabric is pressed right up against that needle. And now you can see I can go ahead and make that nice little straight stitch. Now I'm only going to sew up to, I like to leave about, not even that much, I like to leave about 12 inches, 10 inches. So I'm not going to sew very far because this is my opening, and I'm going to show you how to finish this binding on another video. Okay, so I'll finish right here, cut my threads, and you can see that at this point I have an opening right here, and I'm going to bring that up and I'm going to attach those 2 threads, but that those 2 bindings, but that I'm going to show you in another video. Now you can see this is the wrong side. The important thing to do now is to take this to your iron and press this seam real nice and firm. I don't usually, what? Okay, you can see it. So you see how I can press this right, and I use that Laura Star, and it's just a real nice press. Then it'll fold over, and I have one that's already done with some of the corners. In this particular one, I'm actually going to show you this on a different video, but you see how these corners now flip so easily? What? Oh, shoot. Where are they? Where can you see it? Okay, so you can see on this particular one how nice these corners flip over. And this, again, was done on the right side, and it is flipping over to the wrong side. So you know what I'm going to do here when I turn this over? Once that's done, and I do clip this, I will use my hand stitch and do a hand stitch on this. Most of my big quilts, I almost always do a hand stitch on it. On the one that I did, that I showed you here, this one, of course, you can see the nice little binding that's coming. That is going to create a real nice binding on both sides. Now this is your right side, and when this comes over, you're going to flip that little binding. You're going to put in a couple of your clips, and you'll see a real nice, easy, and then choose one of your wonderful little decorative stitches that you have on your machine to finish off the edge. And what I do, and I'm going to show you in another video, some of the fun edges that I've done and that I've chosen. So you can see this will be pressed now, and you will have a really sweet little, very, very nice binding on both sides. It will miter in the corner on the front, on the back, and on the front. So hope that has helped everyone. The last thing I want to say before we get finished here today is that I want to thank everyone for all of your help in 2020. I know these videos go on and you might be watching this in 2 years from now, but we're so glad 2020 is over, right? And 2021 is coming in. I hope you'll have fun with these videos. Enjoy them. Just forget about all that other stuff. And now we're having a new year with a lot of new fun. So again, thank you so much, everyone, and Happy New Year.